Welcome to The Vault, a mini-series within the Tales of the Lost universe that ventures into secrets hidden inside the archives of the Library of Congress. In this next batch of episodes, we will be exploring the many cancelled American anime adaptations created by Renaissance Atlantic and Bandai Entertainment, rejected pilots and TV treatments forever lost in the archives. Until now, each new episode covers a new discovery. What piece of lost media might turn up next? Follow us as we dive into the depths of the vault. Tonight is on the house.
In the 70s and 80s, anime had a significant influence on the space genre in America. Funnily enough, in a very full-circle moment, many young mangaka of that time had grown up watching American science fiction from the 60s, such as Star Trek, which inspired them to create their own space dramas. Japanese anime of the 70s, such as Space Battleship Yamato and Mobile Suit Gundam, introduced American audiences to new and exciting concepts in space travel, such as giant robots and interstellar battles. The success of these anime, in turn, inspired more American cinema and sci-fi, acting as inspiration to popular film franchises such as Star Wars. This heavy sci-fi craze of the 70s also led to the creation of Gatchaman, a Japanese anime series that premiered in 1972. Gatchaman was a groundbreaking anime that combined elements of the science fiction and superhero genres. The show's success in Japan and America inspired a new wave of anime and sci-fi creations. Gatchaman was later dubbed into English in 1997 and aired in the US under the title Eagle Riders. Eagle Riders was a heavily edited and reworked version of the series, using the combined footage of both Gatchaman and Gatchaman Fighter. This rehash featured all new characters and storylines. The show was created by Saban Entertainment, the same company that produced Power Rangers, another American series made from Japanese material that wound up being wildly successful. Studio executives saw the success of Power Rangers and hoped Eagle Riders would be able to capitalize off of a similar formula. However, the cartoon was poorly received by audiences and panned by critics, and was cancelled after only one season. Despite its lack of success, Eagle Riders remains an interesting example of the influence of anime on American pop culture and the challenges of adapting foreign media for American audiences. But did you know that before Saban Entertainment would go on to produce such a Frankenstein creation, work had been done much earlier behind the scenes to give Gatchaman the full Power Rangers treatment? Similar to Saban's previous and successful ventures of developing the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers with Renaissance Atlantic, Frank Ward and Haim Saban had conceptualized a live-action series and spin-off to the Gatchaman concept. And 2 years before Eagle Riders would surface, in late 1995, Renaissance Atlantic and Saban Entertainment would conceptualize the live-action adaptation known as Eagle Force. The team had already gone into development for a project that would require all live-action actors, and according to what I had found in the show Bible, Bandai America had already begun creating toy prototypes for this new Gatchaman series. Unfortunately, none of the supporting documents that showcased these prototype toys or character designs were submitted to the Library of Congress, but we are still left with a pretty hefty and descriptive show Bible outlining the series' plot, character profiles, and future concepts that would develop later on in the series. With Power Rangers being such a success at the time, I wondered if a full live-action concept like Eagle Force would have amplified the popularity of Gatchaman in America, rather than opting to transform it into the unsuccessful abridged creation that was wholly unfaithful to the original. Though we'll probably never get a full visual of the prototypes that were made from the series, what's written in the show Bible gives us an interesting glimpse into a timeline of what could have been. Without further ado, this is the series show Bible of Eagle Force, an American Gatchaman adaptation.
The backstory. It turns out that Carl Sagan was right when he speculated that in the billions and billions of galaxies, with their still more billions and billions of suns, there must be life somewhere. Deep in space, in a galaxy quite unknown to our astronomers, the planet of Torresovo appears remarkably similar to our own Earth. But the life on this planet is far more advanced in some ways, with a level of science and technology that only science fiction writers have dreamt of heretofore. Unfortunately, when it comes to being able to live together in peace and harmony, they are just like us. Which is to say that trouble and strife are constants. Wouldn't you know, no matter how advanced the technology, the annihilate thy neighbor habit never dies. Marauding, pillage, and plunder persist. Anyway, on Torosovo, two rival civilizations, the Free Mountaineers and the Septic Swamp Slime, have been at war for as long as anyone can remember. The Free Mountaineers, who we'll come to know as heroic, have tried many times in vain to end the war. They would much prefer to raise their families in peace and advance their knowledge of the universe. The Septic Swamp Slime, on the other hand, totalitarians to the core, just want to get rid of the Free Mountaineers and have the place to themselves. The part of the planet occupied by the Free Mountaineers looks quite a bit like Switzerland, without the cows. Luscious mountains, snowy peaks, and sylvan valleys. The Septic Swamp Slime's land is a fetid, festering swamp, hot, humid, and rank. The Free Mountaineers have the edge in technology and in their morals and principles. The Septic Swamp Slime greatly outnumber the Free Mountaineers, and they have enough weapons and technology to win if they could ever get their act together. But being the sort of vile and disgraceful characters they have trouble working together in any consistent way. As far as they know, the Earth is the only other planet with an atmosphere similar to theirs. Both sides have mastered the technology of intergalactic molecular transfer. Both sides are capable of transporting themselves and their weapons and so on at speeds Einstein never considered. At a pivotal point in the war, the Septic Swamp Slime decide the best way to outflank and defeat the Free Mountaineers is to take over our Earth before the Free Mountaineers realize what's happening. Once the Septic Swamp Slime arrive on Earth, they set up their base in the equatorial swamps, from which they launch surprise attacks on our cities and towns. The Free Mountaineers, of course, can't allow this to happen, so they send 4 of their elite soldiers, accompanied by their best and brightest scientist, who is in fact the sister of one of the heroes, in order to protect us from the scurrilous scourges. Our heroes set up their base in a vast, hidden underground facility deep inside a mountain. This hidden headquarters will contain, among other things, all their weapons systems and vehicles and their laboratory. And as our story unfolds, they'll reinforce their arsenal via intergalactic molecular transport from Torosovo.
The look. Although they are an advanced civilization, neither the good nor bad guys look anything like we've seen before, especially in comic books. The good guys, note attached drawings, have strong, finely sculpted humanist bodies, but with heads and hands almost like an eagle. In fact, they look so much like eagles, humans will come to call them Eagle Force. The bad guys are gross by any standards. Some look like leeches with feet. Others look like demented, hysterical, deformed toads. Still, others look like pond scum with ears. As we noted on planet Torosovo, they are an unruly, rancorous lot that are almost as nasty to each other as they are to their foes. Not only are they just plain rotten characters, but they also smell bad. In fact, we will usually smell them before we see them.
The present. As the story unfolds, Eagle Force will come to the aid of the helpless humans and repel various attacks using their incredible array of weaponry. Please see attached preliminary toy designs. In between battles, they will want to mix freely among us in order to learn more about our habits and what makes us tick. In order to do this without intimidating people, Signy, their chief scientist, has developed an ingenious process whereby they can disguise themselves as humans. After researching various types of humans, the 4 heroes turn themselves into 4 young men who combine what represents the most popular looks in our world, while all quite different from one another. Their scientific research was based on a systematic study of television, film, and magazines. In their human form, they retain their natural personalities so that when they talk amongst themselves, they act the same whether they are in Eagle Force form or human form. As humans, they resemble 18 to 21-year-olds who, as a cover, attend the local university. Naturally, they try to hide the fact that they are incredibly advanced guys, physically, mentally, not to mention courage and battle-hardened. The kids in the audience, of course, are in on the secret, so the show will have fun with the occasional slips in our hero's false front. In class, for instance, they sometimes blurt out an answer before a difficult question is even complete, or they matter-of-factly finish a test in 30 seconds. At other times, one of them picks up an errant football by the practice field and tosses it back 90 yards tight spiral, to the astonishment of the football coach, who then tries to get them to join the team. Of course, we will also see them face down the inevitable bully. In these cases, their expressions become steely and they get very close to the bully's face, talking very softly, a la Clint Eastwood. The bully backs down, intimidated. Still, other situations may deal with unrequited romance. A lovely co-ed is infatuated. Our hero is very polite, helpful with studies, and so on, but knows he can't commit. Or can he? In any event, when the septic swamp slime launch a new raid on some new target, the guys suddenly disappear from the scene to appear in the secret HQ as the Eagle Force. Using, see toy design, an advanced array of vehicle/weapon systems, the Eagle Force thunder, literally. They always arrive at the battle loudly, with engines roaring and pounding, turbines screaming after burners blasting. Just as things look the darkest, the intergalactic version of the 7th Cavalry arrives. We Earthlings are grateful beyond measure, but where, the media wonders, do they come from, and where do they go?
The characters. Seeing She is a scientific and engineering genius who runs the secret HQ and maintains communications with Turo Servo. The Eagle Force depends on her to continually solve the technical problems. It is she who figures out what the enemy is using and how to counter. She is quite statuesque, with an almost human, rather beautiful face. In place of her hair, she has gorgeous silken peacock feathers. Ordinarily, she does not adopt a human disguise, although when she does, it is often an amusing role, such as a bag lady. She will go on battle missions from time to time and perform heroically, but usually in a mission control role. Her poise is unshakable.
The 4 soldiers. Red. Called Red because of the hue of his hair and his coloring. He is the natural leader. Unassuming and even a little shy when not in battle, he is indomitable otherwise. Cool, calculating. He can bring the others together when things start to unravel. He does not like the limelight, and while he has a sense of humor, it's more the astronaut form of dry, rather laconic humor. He does not talk a lot, but when he does, it's with quiet authority. Silk, the guy they send on dangerous scouting reconnaissance missions, a genius at getting behind enemy lines. Cool and fearless, he's also the suavest of the group. He is the most interested in the female of the human species. While disguised as a college student, he is easily distracted by the ladies. He is usually anxious to get the battle over with so he can, as he puts it, scout the campus. Rack. Brute strength is what Rack is all about. He can take on several of the septic swamp slime at once, and, whistle while you work, happily bash his head together. He can bend steel with his bare hands and can be seen snapping the enemy's laser guns like twigs. He may not always keep up with the fancy stuff, as he calls it, but just let him get in there and mix it up. Maybe a bit slow on the uptake, but you don't want to be in his way when he's provoked. He often bickers with the 4th of our heroes, Hugo, who tries and often succeeds at getting under Rack's skin. Red or Silk often have to intervene between Rack and Hugo. Even in battle, the verbal jousting goes on. Hugo, an irreverent, fast-talking quipster. No matter how tight a spot they're in, he usually finds something funny or ironic. With a keen sense of the ridiculous, he also, in his human disguise, finds many of our customs and habits amusing. Besides needling Rack, he sometimes tries to make jokes around Signy, but she's never impressed. In battle, however, he is an extraordinary marksman and weapon specialist, which Signy respects at bottom. In the clutch, he gets it done. So there is a quick look at the chief good guys. In their human disguise, they'll look like this. Red with a short military haircut, Red of course. He looks like a test pilot. Strong face, not handsome, maybe the proverbial crooked smile, but straight teeth. Could be a young John Glenn. Silk, longer curly hair with olive Mediterranean skin, but light eyes. He is clearly the most attractive and socially the smoothest. Rock, thick neck, crew cut, a bull-like physique. Even in repose, he looks fairly menacing, but he loves little kids. By no means dumb, however, he just has his own logic. He's all black and white. Strike first, ask questions later. Hugo, he adopts an African-American visage, shaven head with a baseball cap usually. You can tell by the glint in his eyes he's a comedian, and he never stops talking. In battle, he's the chief trash talker.
The septic swamp slime. These guys, if guys they are not so much evil looking as hideous, but not so hideous that they scare kids. They are all costume characters, masked at all times. The chief, girl, leech-like, with more chins than a Chinese phone book. What the talks with a very, very deep voice, almost from a well. Brilliant up to a point. Arrogance does him in every time. The henchman, Schmelt, a sardine-looking thing with long legs who drools a lot. He smells so fishy, even the other swamp slime don't care to be near him. Dislikes Bud intensely and is always vying for number 1 in the chief's eyes. Brave, but stupid. Bud, the victim of a facelift gone horribly wrong. He once looked vaguely toad-like. He dreamt of looking like a frog, but ended up looking like bouillabaisse with ears. So eager to please the chief that he inevitably messes up the plan. No initiative at all, so when order breaks down, he is sunk. These swamp slime love the musk and yuck. As noted, they all smell horrible, and they revel in it. Perfume and aftershave disgust them. Flowers, they are revolted by flowers.
Footnotes. A. All the Eagle Force will be masked so that cast changes should not have a big impact. Obviously we see this as live action, although it could work in animation. B. The toy designs are not final. Definitely not bat-like, however. Batman is enough. We may end up with 4 eagle-like heads, each with unique coloring, uniforms, etc., or 1 eagle, 1 falcon, 1 hawk, 1 peacock, etc., etc.
Thank you for dining with us. There's more where that came from. What lost media do you think will be shown from the vault next? If you would like to support this little series, don't forget to like and subscribe. Ta-ta for now.